Warning, this episode contains suggestive language. There is no nudity, but there is suggestive language referencing genitalia. You've been warned. Enjoy the video! Hey there guys, Hail Plasma 324, welcome back to Let's Play Katawa Shoujo. In the last part, we came to... No, that wasn't the last part. What am I talking about? In the last part, we had our fishing contest, which ended up not being a contest because everybody was too busy having fun. We talked to Hideki a little bit. I think I just mispronounced his name. Yeah. Let's go with Hideki. Pretty sure that's how you pronounce it anyway. And we had a run-in with Shizune and Hideki's asshole father. Well, it was a good part. It was a good part. And in this part, we will start this new day. Dawn of a new day. Bunch of hours remain. I've been neglecting my sign language study, so I should probably spend some time studying up on it. Although I think I've learned a lot just by osmosis. I'm very proud of that, and I will have to be careful not to brag about it. Most of the books I brought with me aren't manuals on learning sign language, but studies about different signing dialects. I know Shizune has some secret singles with Misha that only the two of them know the meaning of. After seeing a couple of them, this book caught my eye in the school library. Maybe I should incorporate some examples into my own signing to mess with them, because I'm pretty sure that they will have started using the code words more when I started learning sign language. That will teach them. After a quick break for a shower, I resumed practicing my signing in the guest room mirror. Yesterday I crashed my fingers against each other pretty hard. It still smarts, and I don't want a repeat of that to happen again. I hear knocking on the door behind me and turn to find Hideki Hideki. Okay. Hideki or whatever. Hideki. I'll just go with Hideki. Sounds better. Standing inside the doorway staring at me. How polite of him to knock, but usually you don't open the door first. What are you doing? I'm practicing sign language. How long have you been standing there? I did not see anything. That isn't the point. I don't even know what he means by that. It's not like I was doing something I would be ashamed to have people see me doing. Although sign language must look strange to most people, I'm only used to seeing it from being around. I'm only used to it from being around Shizune and Misha so much. I'm brushing up on my sign language and reading about it too, stuff like the history of it, even though they cover it in the sign language class. Your school teaches sign language as a class? Yeah, one of the first things I brought up was that it's not very common to do that. I guess we're very international or something. It looks fun. Well, I wouldn't call it fun. If you do not enjoy this, it seems like a lot of work to go through just to talk to my sister. Why does everyone keep saying that? Hideki's mouth twitches like he was about to laugh, but he restrains himself. Come to think of it, he hasn't laughed once since I've met him. I could take it as a compliment that he doesn't laugh at me, but I'm curious to see it. Laugh. Why? It's the fastest and most direct way I could think of toward accomplishing my goal. Can you teach me sign language? He says it plainly, but his body language is nervous, showing that he clearly needs to put some effort in to ask. I guess Hideki likes his sister after all. I think Misha is a lot more approachable, though, so I wonder why he didn't ask her. Secretly, I'm shouting yes inside. I thought he wanted to learn sign language and even brought it up, but he evaded the subject skillfully. It turns out I was right after all. I don't really know why this makes me so pleased. Sure. Now that I think about it, I'm not a sign language teacher. I don't even know where to start. In class, I'd be learning stuff gradually over a week. Does Hideki expect me to teach him anything usable in a one-day crash course? My teacher spent a couple of days just giving the history of a sign language. I decided to start off with that, but to buy some time until I figure out how I can segue into the hard stuff. 5 minutes in, Hideki raises his hand. I don't understand what you were doing. Well, you can't just jump into teaching, you know. You have to ease into it. It's like when you go swimming. You don't just jump in the lake like it's a movie. I do not swim. It's like scientists managed to create a process to suck all the hyperactive, infuriating, and childish qualities of a small child and then implant them into the dad, creating a raging jerk dad and leaving behind Hideki. I begin to feel claustrophobic, despite the fact that the guest room is 3 times bigger than my dorm room and there's just the two of us in here. It's all in my head. I know it and I don't care. I still use it as an excuse to move the lesson outside. Ooh, maybe we will get to that part I was talking about. Well, I wasn't actually talking about it, but nevertheless. If so, we should be getting back to school pretty soon. It's a lot easier to concentrate out here. Even the precious few seconds it took to relocate, it managed to allow me to sort my thoughts. There were no questions during this time. Hideki can't seem to walk and talk at the same time. Eventually, however, I started to realize that if I'm going to teach him anything, I have to keep the lesson constantly moving. The second there's an opening for it, he'll ask a question which will lead to more questions. Then there's no end to it. The second time he asked me why a certain hand motion means what it does, and I have to reach deep into my memory to look for etymology. I don't know about a gesture I only knew about a month longer than him. I start looking for an out. Hideki, let's take a break. Okay. What is your school like? This kid is like a little reporter, but it makes sense for someone his age to be curious. And this one question I don't mind. What's it like? I never really thought about it. It's on top of a mountain, so it feels kind of isolated and lonely up there sometimes, even though that's also why it has a pretty great view. The students there are interesting. Actually, I felt bad at first. You know what kind of school it is, right? Yes. Oh. I felt bad because I didn't want to go there. I don't remember exactly what I was thinking at the time. Probably it was something like a school for the crippled people would be a depressing place. They were telling me to go be forgotten there. Then everyone there was just living their lives for the most part. So I even felt worse. I felt even worse. It wasn't different at all, so I kind of felt like a jerk. Shizune was the first person I met. She's in most of my classes. Misha too. They're always together. I guess this school is accommodating enough to pair them up as much as possible. There's this girl in my class, Hanako, whom I feel bad for. She has these burns, and she seems to have a complex about them. But I think she looks fine. She's a cute girl. I'm friends with Lily, too. You know Lily, right? Does she bring up Hanako? Yes, sometimes. I'm trying to remember who else is interesting. We have a little track star ace who runs on these prosthetics. There's this one girl, Ren, who doesn't have arms, but she's a great painter. All her art has this harsh, alive quality. Have you ever been to Yumaku? You've probably seen some of it hanging around. A little weird sometimes, but I always heard that artistic and creative types are like that. That reminds me, the guy who lives across the hall from me is pretty weird too, but he can be interesting at least. You are also interesting. Is that bad? What's with that tone? What does that even mean? Are you saying I'm weird, Hideki? You talk a lot. My first instinct is to go on the defensive, but the more I think about it, he has a point. That's right, I do talk a lot. I don't think I'm used to. I used to. I think it's probably because of all the time I spend around Shizune and Misha. Talking with them, I get caught up in all the circular logic and just how they do everything. I feel like I'm going to be drowned out or left behind. My sister can drown you out? It's not like she's literally taking me over and talking over me and stuff, obviously. It's hard to explain. They have more energy than I do. It's like an aggressiveness. I don't feel like I have to match it, but I want to. I think maybe your sister has that effect on people. Do you look up to your sister? He stares at me blankly, tense and confused as to how to react to the question. I'll be better than Shizune. Better at what? At everything. Like what? I can do magic tricks. You mean like telling people you've got the nose, or the kind of magic where you pull a rabbit out of your ass? He doesn't look happy. Someday I will see Hideki laugh. I might just try tickling him if I have to. The back door flies open and an asshole strides out of it, keeping his back straight and taking slow, giant, regal strides like either a king or a huge jackass. I try to turn away, using the train of logic that if I can't see him, he can't see me. Unfortunately, it doesn't pan out and he comes over so fast it's like he appeared out of the air over my shoulder. Oh ho, what's up here? What are you two doing, flailing your hands around, playing cast cradle like a bunch of girls? Was that his voice? I think it was. I'm teaching Hideki's son sign language. What about you, Mr. Hakamichi? He narrows his eyes suspiciously, as if he's not used to people being polite to him. I'm writing an autobiography of my life and times, and by writing I mean I am dictating it to my biographer. Unfortunately, she's running late. Unprofessional. Perhaps you should read it when it is published later this year. I can put you on the waiting list. Maybe it would give you the moral compass you seem to lack in your life, and inspire you to stop sucking. It can't be sustainable for him to be so casually insulting to everyone. Though Hideki is likely too detached to even notice, Shizune is deaf, and most of his insults must fly over Misha's head. But surely Akira must have an opinion on this. I try not to think about it. If he's doing this to psych me out, then I have to stay calm or he wins. He must absolutely, definitely not win. This must be how Shizune feels. How old are you? 46. That doesn't seem old enough to justify writing a biography. I mean, that's not even old. Don't most people start writing their memoirs a lot later than that? Shut up, boy. I'm going to give you advice. Do not talk about matters of age with people older than you. You're less than half my age. You have no right to talk about it. Talk about old. I have an ulcer older than you. You should get that checked out. Might have a point, though. He's definitely older than I am. Either way, if we were the same age, I wouldn't have to explain myself to you, sweater vest. Ugh. Why do you make that noise? Are you mad? Well, obviously. Good. Your sweater's terrible, and I want you to feel bad about it. The burn tells me it's working. I like my sweater. I'm sure you like huffing glue, too. That doesn't make it right. I don't huff glue. Where'd you get the impression I do? That is slander. I wonder how Hideki knows what slander is. Maybe Jigoro is a lawyer. I can sort of see that, although I thought only TV lawyers were less antagonistic. I don't know if I should take the chance and ask if that's his job. He's right, it is slander. Are you a lawyer? I was guessing, I guess based on the fact that you were stupid. It's like how you were assuming I'm a lawyer, except you have no reason to think that. If you want to know what I do so badly, why don't you pre-order my autobiography? Now you are insulting my book, and by extension my entire life. What gives you the right to do that? Arrogant. I'm trying to think of how I can make you understand my struggle. Maybe by beating you, with my autobiography. I hope you walk away from the beating having learned a valuable lesson, like not making assumptions. Assault. But he made an assumption, too, that I have glue. I consider calling him out on this glaring example of hypocrisy, but I don't think it's worth it. He would probably explain his way out of it by saying, "Shut up, boy." Back in my day, children were seen and not heard, and being an adult meant having experienced many hardships. With even a glance, people could instantly judge a man's character. Childhood existed only to temper you for adulthood. When you look at me, can you not see the catalog of my experiences even at a glance? Maybe. Are you a sword fighter? You could also be a Hawaiian and a werewolf. Wait, didn't you tell me before not to make assumptions? Now you just asked me to assume stuff. You're saying everyone when you were my age did it. Now, that had to be in the 80s. That wasn't even that long ago. I'm ready to give him a piece of my mind for talking like he had to walk 15 miles in the snow to ride a coal train, then he had to shovel the coal into himself, before climbing up a mountain while fighting ogres to get to school. But now that I finally want to fight, Shigoro is happy to have a good thing going, continuing to ramble about how difficult it was growing up one generation ago, twirling his sword like a baton and stopping occasionally to yawn or check the time. The tardiness of his autobiography is still foremost in his mind. That means the whole time he's been insulting me, he must really been doing it just to pass the time. To add insult to insult, his watch is also really nice. When I was your age, kids had responsibilities, not like today. Sickening. No one thinks about the consequences of their actions anymore. They just do whatever they want, thinking no one will hold them accountable since they are young. It's odd that this description could fit Shizune and Misha. I thought something similar only yesterday, but it only fits them slightly. Look at yourself, and a moral, directionless, delinquent glue huffer with a complete lack of etiquette and absolutely no fashion sense. You are tomorrow's Japan, disgraceful. Is this the future of this once great country? I know someone you get along well with. Don't interrupt. Who? One of your friends? Why would I want to talk to some awful teenager? Haven't you been listening? Why are you so rude, boy? Your attitude is not one that will make you a lot of friends. I wish you would stop giving me so much advice. Or at least, I wish you would give me advice that would have the decency to adhere to himself. Where have you been? Huh? Not you, idiot. He says it's his daughter. I'm pretty sure he's aware that she's deaf. Well, then again, he's an asshole. Oops, didn't notice you there. Shizune smiles and gives a short wave. Her arrival made Jigoro stop talking, so I'm already happy to see her for that reason alone. Misha and I decided to go into town again. Hisao, I noticed you were looking at some clothes yesterday in a store window. I thought I would go back and buy some of them for you. It's supposed to be a surprise, though. She looks annoyed that the surprise is ruined, even though she ruined it herself. Here you go. Thanks. Misha wanted to cut her hair. I told her not to, but she said it was too hot for the summer. Yeah, I don't know. That makes a lot of sense to me. Must be like an oven under there. I want to see it. Where is Misha, anyway? Over here. Hi, Hichan. Hi, Mr. Shichan's father. Hi, Hideki. Misha runs around us once in a wide circle before stopping next to Shizune. For the first time, she hasn't put her hands over my eyes, although now I see she has bags of her own to carry, so it's not like she could have, even if she wanted to. Although I am positive she's tried before. Her meticulously styled curls are gone now in favor of a much shorter, sportier look. Misha looks even happier than usual, probably because she won't have to wake up at the crack of dawn every morning just to do her hair. What is that haircut? You look like an intern. Your old haircut merely made you look like you were wearing a pink judge wig. Judge to intern is a huge demotion. Hisao, is he saying something insulting? Tell him not to insult my friends. Don't insult my friends. Which one of you is talking? Both of us. I agree with her. Hehehe, what do you think, Hee-chan? You should have kept it like it was. Aw, Hee-chan, you look disappointed. You don't like it either? Well, yeah, I'll kind of admit I like your old haircut more, but I think this one is nice too. It suits you. Aw, thanks, Hee-chan. Touching. If you like it so much, maybe you should trade. You can't trade a haircut. What a shame. Even if our old haircut would suit you more than your current slacker haircut, awful. As for you... actually, this is much less garish than your other haircut. I like it. Ah, really? Thanks, Mr. Shizune's dad. It's Mr. Akamichi. Talk like a normal person. I don't understand. Okay. I'll call you Mr. Akamichi. Isn't that kind of weird? Ah, it's like speaking to a slide whistle. Contemptible. Where's my biographer? Hideki! He starts quietly muttering to himself and walks off. I guess a wannabe cranky old man like Jigoro would at the very least be hesitant to yell at girls. Suddenly, he doubles back, unable to resist his urge to add the last word. And another thing, you do not have to be so loud. I do not like being shouted at. What? Shouting? I'm not shouting. I can't think of anyone more unqualified to talk about what's garish or to chastise someone else on shouting at people. It's like a parade of hypocrisies and the hits just keep coming. An unusual reaction seems to be taking place. Misha apparently finds Jigoro funny and laughs pretty much every time he says something, which only makes him berate her harder. I guess this is what they call a vicious circle. Misha's voice is punctuated with explosions of laughter and seems to come from everywhere. On the other hand, Jigoro's is booming and directed like a cannon. In any case, they are both unbelievably loud. The more they talk to each other, the more they seem to play off each other's volume and get louder. Ow, my ears hurt. Why are you shouting, you bitch? Didn't need that, but whatever. Shizune's hands wrap around my eyes from behind, something I'm so used to Misha doing that for the first time I find myself confused by it, since Misha is in front of me. She lets go and holds up a finger to her lips. What a perfect distraction. Now is opportunity. Let's sneak off. Why do we have to sneak off? Why not just walk off? It wouldn't be as fun. It's decided. It's a secret mission. Escape without being detected. Distract Hideki for bonus points. Already, she has simplified the situation into a game. Shizune quietly slides away from the scene and begins edging toward the house. I walk toward it normally. I can't find Shizune at first, but eventually she walks into the main part of the house, sipping a glass of ice water and dangling her glasses back and forth from her free hand. She whips them on as soon as she sees me. You didn't rescue Hideki. That means you don't get the bonus points. If you're also being graded on style, I'll have to deduct bonus for a boring escape. Looked like you wanted to talk to me. I didn't know I had to be stylish about it. You know, some say that the most stylish people are the ones that don't try to act too hard to look cool. You're really cool. I wonder how it is that I can pick up on her sarcasm so easily, and how hard it might have been for her to learn the concept of sarcasm without being able to hear. Can't imagine it. You still look like you're in a good mood. Although I guess it isn't really a good mood. It seems more like she seems very excited. I'm in a bad mood. Setting her drink down, Shizune sits down on the couch. I liked her regular hairstyle so much more. It looked so pretty. It was refined and meticulous. Now she looks too sporty and tomboyish. I wouldn't call Misha refined and meticulous. It sounds more like you. You should give it a chance. Grow your hair out and make it look like drills. Actually, maybe this suits you just fine. Shizune rubs the frame of her glasses roughly, looking annoyed at the implications behind what I just signed to her. That's fine, because I was totally implying that. She moves a little closer to me when I take a seat. I'm a tomboy? Well, no one would call you a tomboy, based on appearances. Shizune glares at me unamused. I have to fight to keep a straight face. Maybe you two should trade haircuts anyway. You sound like my father. It's true. Shizune giggles noisily when she sees my displeasure at the realization. Jumping to her feet, she twirls an invisible sword in the left hand while standing up militarily straight and grimacing. A terrifyingly accurate impression. Anyway, I don't take advice from anyone who wears a blue sweater with brown pants. Where's your sense of color coordination? Dreadful. But changing my haircut, that might be fun. Wouldn't it be? I want to see how everyone will react. I must really like playing with people. Sometimes I think a little too much. No answer. The way she fiddles with the glasses, brow furrowed, tells me that it's because she can't. It's fun. Then, with more confidence and while pulling herself closer to me, it's fun to drag more and more people into my life. Oh, I see. Wonder if I'm included in that number. I want to ask, but I'm not even sure how I would. Shizune wags a finger preemptively, indicating that she won't be answering such a question anyway. Here we go. She reaches for a glass, but doesn't seem to realize how far away she's managed to inch away from it all this time. To prevent herself from tipping over clumsily, Shizune tries to grab onto me and then ends up pulling me on top of her. As I lean over her, I can feel the heat coming off her body and realize how close we are. I can hear her soft breathing and the slight rushing of her clothes as she momentarily fidgets about. A blush starts to creep into her cheeks, but her eyes stare straight into mine, dark and unblinking. It's the same look from the first time I saw her, piercing and devoid of any clear emotions, just waiting to see what will happen next, like the eyes of a cat. It makes me feel uncomfortable, being looked at in such a way. This is the first time I've been so close to her for an extended period of time, and the mood is different now. The situation now isn't the same as the passing touching of hands or her and Misha's usual games. Shizune's fingers weave together tentatively, but she makes no move to sign. The look in her eyes isn't just nothing like I thought, it's more like expectation. I wonder if maybe I've been following the string of her expectations this entire time. I feel her grabbing me by the shoulders and then gently but firmly pushing me off of her. I roll sideways onto the soft couch and pull myself into a sitting position less than a foot from her. The way I feel, she might have as well thrown me 10 yards. When I think about it, this is perhaps one of the biggest drawbacks to sign language. Shizune said that the fact you have to sign your words out with your hands means you have to have time to reflect on what you say before you say it. But on the other hand, it also means that what would normally be just an awkward silence becomes an insurmountable wall. If I just blurt out anything to try and dispel the tension I'm feeling right now if I could, but I can't. Ordinarily, I think that what would be normal would be to apologize and maybe leave, but right now, I wonder if that is even applicable. I can't get past how guilty such an action would seem, like I was just slinking away. Of course, it's not like I can just play it off like nothing happened either. That would just be insulting to both of us. So as much as I don't want to, I apologize so quickly I forget to sign it. Then I go back to my room. Sighing, I let myself fall backwards into bed. I wish I could just go to sleep right now, but I feel wide awake. Fell wide awake, yeah, whatever. Oh, Shizune's in here now. I sit up when I hear the door closing and my eyes open my eyes to see Shizune sitting in the chair in front of me. She asks a question that goes right over my head due to my surprise. It's not a feeling I'm good at concealing, but I don't think it's what she intended. Whatever she was saying, she backs off and doesn't attempt to sign again for a while. This is the first time I've been in your room. Shizune tenses her fingers and puts on an exaggerated attempt to make herself look embarrassed and modest at the thought. I can't appreciate the joke, just the fact that she's here has me feeling a bit scattered. Very funny, it isn't even my room, it's your guest room. Besides, you and Misha barged into my room once before. It seems as if she expects me to say more. I remember feeling very panicked when they burst into my room, afraid of what conclusions they would jump to, seeing the wall of pills lining the place. I don't think that Shizune remembers, though. It made you nervous. The way she says it so factually stings me. A lot of things make me nervous. You're one of them. Because you're overeager to always get people involved in whatever you're doing, whether it's joining the student council or even taking a break, whether they want to or not. She sounds almost at a crawl, her hands pausing mid-sentence far too much, causing the words to dissipate formlessly before I can even try to understand them. I try not to let on this is the case. It seems to work, but she looks a little sad, and I regret that I have nothing to say to snap her from the strangely wistful and distant expression she's wearing. All I can do is wait for her to come out of it. You're right, I want to drag everyone into my life, but lately I'm no longer sure if it's the right thing to do. I enjoyed you taking me to your favorite restaurant the other night. It's not like that was my favorite restaurant. I have others I like. Might even be able to rank them by number. Really. This chair is so hard, I want to sit on the bed. Motioning to her to go ahead, I wait for her to get off the chair and take her place when she does. Though I didn't intend for it to be, she finds it amusing. Close your eyes. Why? It's a surprise. I decide to humor her and close them. I can feel her leaning over me, and suddenly something soft and moist touches my lips. My body tenses up in surprise. Fortunately, not as awkward a reaction as I could have made. It was just a quick peck, and I almost think that's the end of it. But then she kisses me again, more deeply this time. Her hands slide onto my shoulders, up to my neck, and then back down again. Then across my shoulders and down my arms. I can feel the weight of her body on my legs, and the eroticism of the situation isn't lost on me. At this point, I'm ready to try and open my eyes just a crack, but as if expecting it, she puts her fingers on my eyelids. Seconds later, something ties my hands together at the wrists, and I panic, not knowing what to make of this. My first thought is to ask Shizune what she's thinking. Even though she can't hear me, I'm sure she gets the gist of it. She won't let go of my hands, tracing her fingers over them, from the lines of my palms over my knuckles and into my wrists. Alright. This is going to be a longer part. Well, it will be a longer part if need be, because I'm including this entire scene in this part. I'm not cutting it off halfway. This is kind of important. But I'm going to get a drink before this starts. Alright, here we go. Hey, what are you doing? What's this? Of course, with my hands tied behind my back, I might as well be gagged. A part of me can't help but think this is what she intended. As if reading my thoughts, a mischievous expression lights up on her face, but her blushing doesn't fade. In fact, it only deepens when our eyes meet. Embarrassed, she leans deeper into our partial embrace, hiding her face by burying it in my shoulder and neck. Her hair is soft and tickles me, and I let out a laugh knowing that she won't hear me, won't be offended. Shizune's hands move downwards to the fly of my pants, covered by her skirt. I think you can see where this is going. Her hands disappear from view, only to jerk back on touching my erection. Shizune almost falls off me from nervousness. It's like she didn't expect it to be there. The sudden display of naivety is the starkest contrast yet to how forward she has been so far, and I find it amusing. Suddenly, she seems very immature again, a high school girl playing the role of a more aggressive woman. She pokes at my penis curiously with her index finger, her face reddening as she runs the rest of her fingers down its underside. Her movements are soft and curious, and they belie the embarrassed look on her face. It's like Shizune is as nervous as I am, so I'm a bit relieved when she stops her exploratory prodding, but then I think about what's next to come. She might try and unbutton my shirt. Who knows what she would say, seeing the scar on my chest. I'm still self-conscious about it, and I can't imagine the concern on her face seeing it, tending of her fingers in thought. Luckily, in this position, she couldn't take off my sweater without ripping it off of me. The fear fades from my mind. Now I'm only experiencing a strange, uncomfortable mix of anticipation and nervousness. A newfound lightness on my knees brings me back to reality, and I can see Shizune standing on the tips of her toes to slide her underwear down her thighs. When she sees me looking at her, she tries to cover my eyes with one hand. I wonder exactly when it was when I started being attracted to her. Not just attracted to her physically, but being drawn to her. And I wonder why. She's pretty, but then also very combative. Not just that, but she seems to like being that way. The way she's acting now, however, and at other times, doesn't really fit that image. I'm starting to think that maybe her tying my hands might have been for more reasons than just the most obvious. Still, that aggressiveness that she flashes around as comfortably as a business card is real. I don't know whether or not that kind of attitude could be considered dangerous. If it is, I wonder what kind of person that makes me. It was probably the first week I was here. A week doesn't sound so long when I think about it, but at the time it did. Even though I pretty much thought my days were numbered that week, it still seemed to go by so slowly. Even if she can't hear me, it puts me at ease. I started to realize that I didn't have much to complain about, but there's still... well, never mind. She glances at me for no other reason than I'm talking. Because she can't understand what I'm saying, Shizune becomes increasingly flustered, but doesn't say anything in reply. Shizune sucks her breath in sharply as she lowers herself onto my penis, trying to keep herself upright as she teeters on top of me. The skirt of her dress covers both of her intimate parts, and traps her body heat under it like a tent. Under it, I feel unbearably hot, and Shizune's hand guiding me into her, only adds to it. The second that I penetrate her, Shizune winces, and then nearly falls on top of me. The sudden sensation is mind-numbing, and I feel waves of pleasure radiate through me from both ends of my body. It feels as if my entire lower body is enveloped in the warmth and wetness of Shizune's body, able to feel her every twitch and shudder as she starts moving. Shizune begins rocking her hips back and forth, at first slowly, but with her tempo increasing each time, she pulls herself almost completely off of me, only to plunge back down at the last second. Being so close to her, I can see the sweat beating on her skin and the fog that forms in her glasses when they slide down her nose and too close to her mouth before she pushes them back up. Her fingertips press into my shoulders, holding onto them to steady herself, pushing against them to push herself off me, then running down my arms and grasping for my wrists and hands as she pushes herself back down. Maneuvering around like this is difficult at best. Shizune tries to brace herself against me while pushing herself up and down with her feet. I attempt to kiss her, but only manage in succeeding in touching our foreheads together, at least not painfully. My only thoughts wander briefly to whether or not the door is locked. If it were to open now, I'd probably have a heart attack, literally. And then there's the question of who would be opening the door. The sense of danger only serves to make Shizune's movements more torturous, and I wish she would speed up, but from this position it may not even be possible. I start moving my hips upward in rhythm with her, trying to drive myself deeper into her. It doesn't matter to me that my movements are shaking the chair we're on, creating a loud knock as the wooden chair raps against the wooden floor. I don't really know how I would do that, but I think that line alone is pretty important. Just for the fact that, she's deaf-mute and, she just made a noise. It seems important. Her breathing grows louder, and it even sounds like suppressed moans escape her throat. Though it's obvious that she wants to hold them in, they're still loud enough that they'd be audible to anyone standing outside the door. I stop thrusting into Shizune, partly because it's hard to keep up with her as she starts getting more and more into it and moving faster than I can manage to match well under her. I need to stop talking so fast, damn! My heart races so quickly that I can almost hear the blood pounding in my temples, and more worryingly, I can feel a dull throb in my chest. I stop thinking about the pressure I feel between my thighs, if only for a moment. That moment, though, is enough. Combined with the tightness of her squeezing around me and the sensation of her skin rubbing up against mine, I tense up and fire off inside Shizune. Inside Shizune. A fleeting feeling of power and flight. Afterward, I listen to the sound of my heartbeat slowing down until it reaches its normal rhythm. I listen to the sound of Shizune's breathing as it does the same. Her glasses are slightly askew, and this is the first time she's been messing around with them in some way. I want to straighten them for her, but the second I try, I'm reminded I can't. Shizune seems to have forgotten it as well. Instead of getting up, she presses herself against me in the chair to extend her reach. It's almost as if this is the only position she can think to untie my hands from. This is what I think as I feel her unbinding my wrists. However, she doesn't get off me. Her fingers gently stroke against mine, occasionally bending inward to run over my palms. It's funny, but I feel more connected to Shizune through the simple act than before. Shizune stays pressed against me like this for some time. It's a little uncomfortable, but it makes me feel happy, as if I could stay like this for hours. Yeah, that is it, sex. And that is not the reason that I love this game so much. It's a good reason, but it's not the main one. And I believe, with that as our ending, I will end this part off. So, next time on Let's Play Katawa Shoujo, we will enjoy the rest of our week here at Shizune's home, and maybe we will head back to school, and see what happens then. So, until then, take care, I'll see you guys in the next one, and keep on